Alright, so welcome to the final tour of my studio. My fiance and I are moving to a house, and this studio is getting a huge upgrade. Right now, this room is about 10 feet by 8 feet. I made a video about how I built this room, really had to maximize the space with the acoustic panels and with everything else that I have here. It's been kind of tight, but it worked for us for the last 3 years. But now we're moving to a house, we're upgrading from, I think the studio's 10 feet by 8 feet, and we're going to 20 feet by 10 feet. So that's going to be a massive space. It'll probably be a similar layout like this one, but with a few extra cool things just because there's a bit more space to work with now. Maybe a bigger synth wall, maybe a couch. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Just like I made a video about how I built this space, I'm definitely going to make a video about how I build the new space. So keep an eye out for that video. Subscribe to the channel so you can see how I transform that particular room to a studio. But before we get started on the tour, I'm really excited to finally finish and release my first drum sample pack, the Drums Volume 1. Congratulations to the 5 winners. I know a bunch of you signed up, but 5 of you are the lucky winners of the high-res version of the sample pack. There's a high-res and a standard version. The only difference is the high-res is in 96K because everything was recorded in 96K. So yeah, check your email for your unique coupon code for the 5 winners. If you didn't win, I sent out an email with a coupon code for 50% off just as a thank you for signing up. And to the rest of you, take a look in the description of the video. I put a link to the sample pack. For a limited time, I'm doing a promo of 20% off. Eventually, I'll take it off, but just because I only released it now, thought I'd give you guys a bit of a discount just for supporting the channel. The sample pack was created entirely from scratch by me. There's no recycle sounds. Everything was made entirely from the ground up. I used organic sounds, I used drums, I used some analog synths. All of that went through my Bettermaker analog limiter. It went through my Neve 5059 just to give it some more harmonics. Ton of processing in the box later on just to shape the sounds into that feel that I was going for. And yeah, hope you guys like it. I think it's about 161 sounds in the sample pack. I'll make a video about how I made a pack, how it sounds. I'll post a few examples of the sample pack as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy and appreciate you supporting the channel. Let's get back to the studio tour and get into the video. All right, we're going to go handheld here for a bit just because it's going to be easier for the video. So let's flip the camera and start with the first thing. So the first thing, I think this is the most important thing in my opinion, are the acoustic panels. So I have right there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 acoustic panels in this room. These are all from GIK Acoustics, and I feel like when you're building the studio, this should be the first thing that you're doing just because it makes a huge difference. You can't have expensive speakers and no treatment in the room. You can't record vocals without treatment in the room. So this makes a difference. Just to explain what all of these do, these corner ones, there are bass traps. These side ones, I think they're about 4 or 5 inches thick, are for the first reflection point. So essentially sound goes from the speaker, bounces through here, and then kind of stops it from bouncing around everywhere towards the listening position. The ceiling clouds are to also sort of dampen the sound reflections. I had a huge problem near the A frequency. I think when I played this note on the piano, things just went crazy. So these really helped. Then this acoustic panel is pretty much for when I work with artists. There's like a chair right here. So when I work with artists, this acoustic panel serves as a way to absorb some of the reflections because we put up the mic right here and the artist stands. And then these two are, I think, 7-inch bass traps. You can see they're pretty thick because a lot of the low end gets trapped sort of at the back here, and these help with the low end. And also, when the vocalist is singing right here, then these bass traps and this kind of work together to make sure that the sound is good. I don't like using reflection shield because I find sometimes they create more problems. I just like to make sure that the acoustics in the room are good, and then I just record all my vocals here. So yeah. All right, the second thing is the computer. I got my MacBook M2 Max. This is completely maxed out. 96 gigs of RAM, I think 8 terabyte hard drive, the M2 Max, whatever the most cores are, you know, that come with it. You don't need an M2 Max for audio production. M2 Pro or M3 Pro, whatever it is now, is good enough. I got the Max version just because I do video editing for this channel, and the extra GPUs do really help with that. But yeah, this computer is a beast. The fan, I've never heard, I think I heard the fan spin up once, but that was because it was a huge session in 96K and we were doing exporting, and at the same time I was exporting a YouTube video. So, you know, this is great because my old laptop, I could either export a Final Cut video or work in Logic or Ableton. You can't do everything at once. On this one you can do like 3 Ableton sessions, a Logic session, like you can do everything. It's honestly too much, but this thing has been a beast. I know they have the M3 version now, but if you find the M1 version or M2 version like for cheap or refurbished, highly recommend it. It's been an amazing laptop. All right, and the next thing is the monitor. So I had the Samsung monitor for a long time. I think you guys seen in my other videos, but I've switched to the Apple Studio Display. Couple of reasons. To be honest, the other monitor I think was making my migraines a bit worse just because of the panel. This panel is a lot better quality. It's a lot sharper. I think the actual sort of panel doesn't have this vignetting effect that the other panel had on my Samsung, so this one's great. Has built-in speakers for when I do video calls, built-in webcam. It's amazing for video editing just because the color reproduction is really good. Like the colors match from this display to the MacBook to, you know, my phone. Like it's all sort of synced up. So yeah, it's expensive, but in my opinion it's worth it. And I also got it on this, like, I don't know, oh, does that move? See, like comes up, comes down, sort of rotates. Yeah, it's good. It's expensive. It's also a bit overkill, but I like it. All right, we're sort of going in sequence here. So the most important are the panels. I think the next important thing is the computer, but the next important thing, also I'd say pretty up there, is your listening gear. So that's the studio monitors and that's your headphones. So for the studio monitors, I made a video about these guys. These are absolutely crazy, but these are called the Barefoot Footprint 01s. They're 3-way monitors. What that means is you got the tweeter right there, you got the mid-range driver right there, and then you got 8-inch opposing subs on this one and 8-inch opposing subs on that one. The low end is insane. It's super tight and controlled. What I like about these is my mix revisions went down. Like I used to do, you know, I don't know, 5, 10 mix revisions. Now I have like 1, 2 mix revisions, if any at all, just because they translate really well to other systems. They work in this small room that I have now. They'll sound even better when I move to the house and have the bigger room. And they have this cool thing called the meme switch. Let's see if the camera can focus. So this is the Barefoot meme switch. This essentially emulates different speakers. So there's a flat mode, there's a hi-fi mode that, you know, just bumps up the bass a bit and makes the treble a little louder just to emphasize what things would sound like a house environment. Then you got old school, which are essentially an emulation of the Yamaha NS10s, and then you got Cube, which is an emulation of the Avantone Cube speakers. So yeah, these are amazing. For the headphones, I use the closed back Beyerdynamic. I forget the name of them. I'll post them somewhere on the screen. But these are really good. They have really soft, cushiony ear cushions, really comfy. My ears don't overheat in these. I know it looks like they might get hot, but they're actually great. And then somewhere in the closet, here, let's check. I got these headphones. These are essentially for, they're Audio-Technica headphones. These are for artists, so when artists come in and they record vocals, typically I give them these because they're comfy, they're light, and yeah, vocals sound great in them. All right, next up, we got all the music gear, the synths, the drum machines. So for my main audio interface, I use the Apollo X4. It has 2 headphone jacks, 2 guitar inputs. It has 4 preamps on the back, both XLR and 1/4 inch, and then there's a couple of outputs for like studio monitors and other hardware. Like for example, these wires go, these are out into the studio rack, and then the studio rack comes back into here. So that's that. All right, let's move on to this. This is kind of new. I still have yet to make a video about this, but I've been liking it so far. This is the Push 3 standalone version, so you can unplug it and, you know, do your thing without a computer. I just like to sometimes sit back on the couch or on the balcony and just come up with some ideas. This is the SSL UF8. This is for mixing. It has motorized faders. I don't know. I know you can mix with a trackpad, but I sometimes like to be hands-on and I like to feel things out. As I'm producing, sometimes it's really quick to just like lower the volume or you know, do whatever you need to do on the fly. For the drum machine, I actually used to have a Roland TR-8S, but I sold it recently because I wasn't using it that much. But this thing is cool. This is the Isla Instruments S2400s. Essentially like a sampler that emulates an older drum machine, and yeah, like it's cool. Like it has an amazing time shift algorithm for pitching things up and slowing them down and resampling and repitching and retiming. So this thing is cool. A lot of kind of menu diving, unfortunately, so it takes a bit of time to get used to this, but other than that, it's cool. Then we got the Prophet 12. This is sort of a recent addition. I really like this thing. It's a digital synth, but it has analog filters, which give it a cool sound. I love it because analog is great. Like I got an analog synth right here. Like this is my Moog Subsequent 37. I use this to make some of my sample pack. I use it on my productions all the time. This thing for bass is crazy, but the digital synth is cool because digital synths can make sounds that analog synths sometimes struggle to make with very weird wave shapes. So this thing's cool. And then I have this digital piano. So this piano, I think it's a 88 weighted key piano. I think I had it since I was a kid, like since I was, I don't know, 12 years old. So it's, or maybe 13. It's very, very old. But it's great. It still works. I love it. I love weighted keys. I'm originally a trained classical pianist, so for me, having a weighted key piano is cool. It has a MIDI hookup here, but to be honest, doesn't work half the time. So if any of you use a weighted key keyboard that you like that works seamlessly with your computer, let me know because I'm looking to upgrade. And then the last little thing we got right here, this is the, here I'll pull it out so we have some more light. This is the Teenage Engineering OP1. I've wanted this for the longest time since I was younger and finally got it. I know it's not the OP1 Field, but I got this before the OP1 Field came out and I think it's cool. You know, I like it because it's battery powered. You can sort of work together with the push because this is battery powered and standalone and make some cool ideas. You got some melodies on this, you get some drums on this, and you're on your way making a song. Okay, cables. So I have some Mogami cables that I use. To be honest, all my cables, I think there's like some that are some random brand, but those are rare. I have some Mogami cables that I've purchased, but for the longest time, I've been making my own cables. So if we look at, I think here, yeah, so this is a Neutrik cable connector, but this is actually a Mogami cable, and I soldered this myself. I actually made a video on how to make these XLR cables, how to make TRS cables yourself, so I'll post it in the video description so you can check it out. But yeah, like, you know, if you were to buy this cable at the store, I think it's like $90, and then if you were to make it, it's like 20 or 25. So it takes a bit of time and getting used to making cables, but I think these are great. I don't know if there's a difference in sound quality, but what they're good at is being reliable. They don't break, the connections are good, you can like step on these cables and bend them in weird ways and they'll hold up, they'll work for a long time. Next up is hardware. I already covered the Apollo X4, but this is, yeah, this is an expensive rack. Audio world is very expensive, unfortunately, but this is the Better Maker analog limiter. This thing I use on my mastering chain, sometimes on drum mix buses. This is the Neve 5059. For now, I don't have enough outputs to really use it as a summing mixer, but what I use it for is I still run my mix bus through this sometimes just because it has this like silk red and blue mode that adds some harmonics. But what I use it for is connecting all my synths. So the Prophet 12, the Moog, the Yamaha, the OP1 when it's connected, the Isla Instruments drum machine. All of those flow through here, and then they come out of the two outputs right there, and then they go right back into the audio interface. So for me, this is like a mixer for me at the moment. It adds some harmonics on the way in through the transformers that are on the outputs, but eventually I'll use this as a way to mix down my mixes. And then at the end we have just the patch bay, TRS patch bay. These are cool because you can essentially change them from their different modes, like normal, you know, half normal, on the fly here instead of crawling to the back. And this I use to just route things to the limiter. So maybe sometimes I'll want to run this drum machine through the limiter, then through this, and then to the interface, and that's how all of that works. For microphones, we have, well, I'm recording on this wireless one right now, but we have the Shure SM7B that runs through this cloud lifter right here. You essentially need this because the SM7B is a pretty quiet mic. This has an output transformer on it, so this adds some harmonics. And then the other one right there is the TLM, I think 103 it's called, the Neumann. That one is the main mic I use for vocals. Yeah, that one's really nice. And for my preamp, again, I use the Apollo X4. I'm really hoping to get a dedicated vocal preamp, but those are expensive, and yeah, we'll have to wait. All right, for desk and seating, so I have this desk. It's a huge desk, 72 inches by 30. It's set to stand, so there's a little controller right here, and it goes, you know, up and down, whatever you want it to do. And I actually built a little keyboard shelf. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I have the Native Instruments S61 underneath. This is a MIDI controller. So I have this keyboard tray built just using some, like an IKEA top. It's actually meant for this, but I used it for this. And then some drawer slides are here. I made a video on how to make this. I think this cost me like 80 bucks at the time to make. And you just mount it right to the desk. This desk itself is by a company called Ergonoffice. They're based here in Canada, in Montreal. And this is made of solid maple. It's not made from MDF or anything like that. Like, this is solid wood. And this desk riser is also solid maple, also made from Ergonoffice. I also have these little accessories here. This is just my organizer for the week, what I need to do. And this is my organizer for the day, so my daily tasks. For seating, I use this Herman Miller Aeron chair. You can sit in this for 12 hours a day and your back will never hurt. I have this little chair just for artists, and then this poof for when I play this piano, or if artists want to put their feet up and get more comfy. For storage, to be honest, I just have this thing here. This is a Besta cabinet from IKEA. The hinges from IKEA actually don't work that well. You have to get your own hinges because those doors are heavy. I have some drawers right here that are mounted in my rack, and then obviously you saw this closet, but this is multi-purpose. And for lighting, I have a bunch of lights. So I made a video on how I lit the studio. Also check it out. But this is all Philips Hue lighting. So I have a Philips Hue strip that's behind the desk. These are all remote controlled from your phone, dimmable. You can change the colors, you can do whatever, you can sync them to your music. There's a light strip on the side right there, light strip on the panel, some ambient lighting above these panels. These lights here just provide me more light for the desk. And then there's a light back here. And then, yeah, the Furman power conditioner also has some built-in lights, but they're not that strong. I guess they're kind of nice at night. But yeah, lighting is important because you want to set a vibe and a mood for yourself or for an artist that you're working with, whether it's in the day or in the night. You know, lighting can make a huge difference to how a room feels. And last thing I almost forgot is these speakers are sitting on these stands. I don't know what weighs more, the speakers or the stands, but these stands, they're filled with sand. Like, they're super, they don't ring. which is important because if you get a really bad stand and it's reverberating all the sound from the speaker, it's just going to mess with the acoustics of the room. But these are filled with sand. They're super heavy. They have this kind of floating effect, which is kind of cool, but essentially that helps to decouple the speaker a little bit from the stand. And then they're on the ground with this heavy bass right there. That bass is also filled with sand, and it's sitting on spikes right now. If you have hard floors, it comes with these like spike protector puck things. It's like this thing like that, and then the spike sits inside. These are really worth the investment. I think these are like 1,500 or 2,000 Canadian dollars. I know it's super expensive for stands, but you know, when you're spending 6,000 bucks on speakers, then why would you cheap out on the stands? Yeah, that's the last thing I think in the studio tour. Alright, so thanks for sticking around till the end. I think this concludes the entire studio tour. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Hope you guys enjoyed it, learned something new. I'm really excited for the next studio in the house. I think that place is going to be crazy. It's double the size from the current studio. Yeah, it's going to be cool. I don't know what exactly I'm going to do with it, but I think it's going to look really nice. If you haven't checked it out yet, check out the sample pack that I released. Hope you guys enjoy it, and thanks for sticking until the end of the video. See you in the next one.